Good morning, children. Today we are going to start with lesson number 4, A Truly Beautiful Mind. This is one of the important lesson from class 9's Beehive lessons. Now this lesson is written by a truly beautiful mind. So who is that beautiful mind? Can you tell who is that beautiful mind? So I show you one picture here. So you can see the picture of who is this person? Certainly this is the picture of Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein, so have you heard of why he was so famous? He was so famous for the theory of relativity. He was so famous for the quantum theory. He was so famous for the world famous theory like E equal to mc square, where we can see the relationship between the energy and mass. So he was of the opinion that what is important in life is imagination. Imagination is everything and it is the preview of life, and therefore imagination is more important than knowledge. So we could see that in the beginning of, in the early career of Albert Einstein, it was quite usual. It was not unusual. Great people, although the great people are not born with some of the signs of greatness. And that is what we can notice in the case of Albert Einstein, who was born in the city of Ulm in Germany. He was born in the year 1879 and the date was 14th March. And that was an important day in the history of humankind, because he gave to the world a lot of theories. He changed the concept of the physical world, because he discovered many new things that are not previously thought of. He discovered the theory of relativity in spatial. Therefore, in this lesson we will see Albert Einstein, his early childhood, his schooling, and his discovery, and the obstacle he faced just like a common man, and the person who was predicted by everybody, including the mother, that he cannot shine in life. He disproved all the theory and become the world famous person. Therefore, we will be starting the lesson now. This is lesson number 4, A Truly Beautiful Mind. So let us see the lesson. Name of the lesson is A Truly Beautiful Mind. So why this is called Truly Beautiful Mind? We will see why he is called Truly Beautiful Mind. So if we make the analysis of the title, then we will see that his mind was very generous. His mind was very generous. His mind was very kind. It was a very sympathetic. So he thought about the invention of the nuclear fission. After this, he could smell that the world may be in trouble because of the atomic bomb, and therefore when he became the citizen of America, he reported it to the American president. And then America did to what? America silently was making experiment on this particular fission theory, and then did what? They invented. They discovered the atomic bomb, and they experiment also to the hazard or the problem of the people. Therefore, in the beginning we will see, my dear children, so there is no sign of genius in him. There is no sign of genius. Genius means a person who is having some inborn talent. Inborn, I-N-B-O-R-N, inborn talent, T-A-L-E-N-T-S, inborn talents, or inborn caliber, inborn C-A-L-I-B-R-E, inborn caliber, inborn skill, inborn S-K-I-L-L-S, skills. So this is his attribute, my dear children, but it was not noticed. So it was not assumed by the people that he one day will take the world by storm, means he will make the world very much surprised just by his discovery in different field, particularly the motion of the particles and also the electrodynamics of the moving bodies and energies. But what happened? So he became a world famous name because of his imaginative quality, because of his inventive quality, because of his inner quality. And for this inner quality, he is called a beautiful mind. So my dear children, now before proceeding further, we will see the main point of this lesson. So for this, let us move to this part. Now let us move to this part. So let us see. So Albert Einstein was born in the year 1879. 1879, and the day was 14th March. He was born in the German city, of Ulm. Name of the particular city was called Ulm. His mother thought he was a freak because his head seemed too large. Freak means unusual. Mother thought that he is unusual or abnormal. Is A-B-N-O-R-M-A-L, abnormal or unusual, because his head was also unusually large or big. He did not speak till the age of 2. So here you see, my dear children, so those children who are supposed to be intelligent, then they begin to speak earlier in their career or earlier in their life. But to the surprise or amazement of everybody, he did not speak. He did not speak till the age of 2. And because of this particular quality, he was nicknamed as Brother Boring. Brother Boring means he is very uninteresting fellow. His nickname is in the school is Brother Boring. He loved mechanical toys, even wondered where his newborn sister's wheels were. So as he was abandoned as he was not given company by the children of his own age, because he was a little uncommon. Therefore, what he did, he played only with the mechanical toys which were having the wheels. And when his sister Maja was born, then he asked the question to the mother, where is the wheel of the newborn sister? So this is quite amusing and interesting. Therefore, let us proceed. Albert went to the high school in Munich. He scored good mark in almost every subject. So it is told, or it is thought that he is not a good student, but it is not so. He was good in academic subjects, but he liked some of the subject more compared to other subjects. Therefore, as a student also, we could see that when he was in Munich, he scored good mark in almost all the subjects. And what he hated the school's regimentation. Regimentation means strict rule. STRICT, strict rule. Strict rules of the school was disliked by him, and he often argued with his teacher. So he has also the tussle, TUSSLE, tussle with his teacher also. Many times he lent the argument. When he was 15, he hated the school so much that he left it for good. For good means forever. Now the school was slowly and gradually becoming unbearable for him because of the strict rule imposed by the head teacher, including the other staff member. Therefore, when he was only 15 years old, he left the school forever to study in other schools. Now let us see where he studies. So let us continue. He continued his education in German-speaking school in Switzerland. So he continued his study in Switzerland. He continued his study in Switzerland. He was highly gifted in math and physics. He also studied in the University of Zurich. So as he was very much interested in mathematics and physics, so he opted for the same, and he continued his studies, and then he went to the University of Zurich, which was more generous and liberal. The rules there were flexible. Rules were little flexible, or the rules were not as strict. The rules were little loose. Therefore, he liked those particular rules which were not so fixed but flexible. His headmaster told his father that he will never make a success at everything. Now see, this is quite surprising because his headmaster also was of the opinion to that whatever profession he chooses, he cannot make a success because it appears that he is lacking in basic intellect. And therefore he cannot become a successful person. So besides his textbook, he was also interested in playing the violin, which was forced by or urged by us. Means it was the expectation of the mother. The mother expected that he will play the violin as a hobby. He will play the violin as a hobby, so that his times become more interesting. It doesn't become very dull or uninteresting. His mother wanted him to become a violinist. Amateur violinist means not a professional violinist. Then when he went to the University of Zurich, he took interest in a fellow student. The name of the fellow student was Milva Merrick. Milva Merrick was the name of the fellow student on whom he took the interest, and finally he got married with her too. And let us see what follows. What are the other important points? She was from Serbia and had come to Switzerland because it was one of the only place in Europe which had a college where women could get degrees. So Miliba Maric was a Serb, came from Serbia and joined this university in Switzerland, because this was the only place, this is the only university that actually give education to the women, They soon fell in love and were known to exchange letters that mixes science with tenderness. Now both of them were the student of science. They were experimenting on the theory of relativity, and when they were in love, they exchanged the letter, and that letters were the mixture of science and literature. That letters were the mixture of the scientific theory with the tenderness of love and affection. One such letter from Einstein was, "How happy and proud we shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion." So this is one of the lines from the letter that was written by Einstein to Milva Maric. So he was of the opinion that when they will be married, in future, then they will be so happy if they can bring the theory, bring the hypothesis to a victorious conclusion just by proving it. That will be the happiest moment in their life when they will be married. At the same time, they will be successful on the theory of relativity too. Let us proceed. Here we proceed. At 21, he was a university graduate but unemployed. He was a university student. So he came out of the university, and initially he was unemployed. He could not get the employment, and after 2 years he got the employment, and that particular employment, that particular job was a turning point in the life of Albert Einstein, because he was serving in a patent office. Patent office means what? An office that gives the permission for any kind of discovery or invention. While he was working in the patent office, silently or unknowingly, he was imbibing or he was cherishing some of the inventive quality in him. Let us see what follows. He only secured a job at the age of 23 as a technical expert in the patent office at Bern. In the patent office, the office that actually gives the permission for any kind of discovery or invention. While he was supposed to be assessing others, he invented his own ideas in secret. This line is quite important. So he was assessing, he was the evaluator, who evaluated the papers of the other where they wrote on the invention. And while he was approving, while he was assessing or evaluating, at the same time he also, from his inner mind, he was secretly developing his own ideas of invention. Einstein wanted to marry Melibea right after college, but his mother was against it. Mother was against it. So why did the mother be against it? Because the mother was of the opinion to that Melibea was little older to Albert Einstein, and point number 2 was that Melibea was also just like a book, like Albert Einstein. Therefore, he cannot marry Melibea, because if they marry both of them who are as equally intelligent, then there will be clash and quarrel, and the marriage life will not last for long. That was the prediction. That was the prediction made by the mother. That was the prediction that was kept hidden but hinted by the mother to Albert when she disapproved of the marriage of Albert Einstein with Meleva. Then let us see what follows. She thought that Meleva was too old for him. They finally got married in 1903 and had two sons. So in 1903, so both of them got married and they had their two sons. But after the marriage, their life will bring some changes and both of them gradually will become fed up with each other. Fed up with each other means becoming little exhausted, tired of each other, means begin to be dull with each other. Therefore, what finally they did, they got separated. But Melibea was losing her intellectual ambition and becoming an unhappy housewife. So when Melibea was married, she was lacking in, or she was losing the interest in her intellectual work or pursuit, intellectual ambition. And as a housewife, she became quite boring. It became quite boring for her to become the housewife. Therefore, finally they divorced in 1919 after 16 years. Einstein married his cousin Elsa in the same year, means in the year 1919, when the World War was over. World War I, 1914 to 1919. So at this in this year 1919, he got married to the cousin Elsa. Imagination is more important than knowledge, he said. I never think of the future, it comes soon enough. So he is finally, will see that he, after the marriage with Elsa, he became very famous, and one after another he was receiving prizes and laurels. Laurels, you see the laurels, L-A-U, laurels means praises, P-R-A-I-S-E-S. So the first laurels or the award was in the year 1921. In the year 1921, he received what? The Nobel Prize for his theory of photoelectric effect. Theory of photoelectric effect. So it was in 1921. After the First World War was over, he received the Nobel Prize for his theory of photoelectric effect, for his theory in the contribution of the physical science, particularly in physics, and in the contribution of the human well-being. So some of the interesting quote that we see about Albert Einstein was that he was telling that if science and religion are separate, then science will be lamb without religion. Science is lamb means it cannot work. The lame person cannot walk. If also walking in a limping manner, the speed will be very less. The religion without science is blind. And the religion, if they are not scientific, if a religion is not scientific, then that religion is blind and it is called superstitious. Therefore, beautiful lines are invented by Albert Einstein. So So some other lines let us see. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. So it was Albert Einstein who said, if a person has never made mistake in his life, that means he never tried anything new. He was going by the same route, same work he was doing as it was done by the other people. Means no invention, no inventive quality, nothing new or novel. Nothing new or novel was invented. The only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. So he was telling that this education is not up to my mark. This education is just like the German boots. It fits everybody, but does not suit anyone. Then he was giving a beautiful theory of relativity, very amusing theory of relativity. So let us see this theory. Put your hand on a hot stove for a minute, and it seems like an hour. It seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour, and it seems like a minute. That is relativity. So somebody asks, sir, so can you give a humorous theory of relativity? Then he gave the answer. Supposing a stove, kerosene stove or other stove is burning, and you are putting your hand there, then how will you feel? You will feel you will feel the heat of it, and you will feel little uneasy, not comfortable, not at home. Therefore, that particular moment, 1 minute is almost equal to 1 hour. 1 hour when you are in trouble. Means when you are putting your hand onto the burning or the hot stove. But the 1 hour time when you are gossiping or spending your time with your loved one, particularly the pretty girl or your fiancé, then that 1 hour is equal to 1 minute. 1 minute. Therefore, in this way, the scientists gave the beautiful definition of the theory of relativity. So let us move, my dear children. So we'll see the first part of the lesson. We'll see some questions and answer. We'll see some questions and answer, and after that we'll see some MCQ questions too. So before proceeding, we'll see this particular activity. Name the famous Indian scientist associated with this picture. Can you name this scientist? Who is your Indian scientist? What is the name? He was the missile man. Who is the man? APJ Abdul Kalam. He is called the missile man. This picture actually shows the missile man's activity. Therefore, after making a review of the main points of this lesson, so let us see what is told in this particular chapter. This chapter is about Albert Einstein. He is a scientist, and this title of the chapter, Truly Beautiful Mind, refers to the Albert Einstein. It refers to, or it indicates Albert Einstein. That means it is a short biography of his, where some of his qualities have been highlighted. Albert's interest in mathematics and physics, and also his humanitarian attributes. Attributes means the qualities. So we'll see the title, how this title is appropriate. A truly beautiful mind make one wonder that how can a scientist's mind be beautiful? It is so because in this lesson we come across another aspect of Einstein, another aspect or another side of Einstein also you can notice or observe, and he was humanitarian, means he was a great lover of human being. He had the human sympathy, pity, love, emotion, everything. And because of this quality, his mind was called the beautiful mind, because his mind always worked for the betterment, for the peace, for the non-violence, and particularly for the better health of this world. He advocated world peace, non-violence, and that is why the title refers to him as beautiful mind. Therefore, when you are asked the question, give the appropriateness of the title, then you will be telling about this particular quality, the humanitarian quality, his love for peace and non-violence, and his advocacy of the beautiful quality about his mind, and because of this, the title is quite appropriate. Therefore, let us see now. We'll see the part of the lesson now. We'll see the first part first. My dear children, you will see that the great people never die. They keep their name in the sand of the time, and therefore, when the great people dies, their death is immortal. That death is very immortal because their death are celebrated because of their contribution in the world, contribution for the betterment of the human being. So this particular paragraph number 1 and 2 talks about the childhood of Albert Einstein. So let us see this part. Albert Einstein was born on 14 March 1879 in the German city of Ulm without any indication that he was destined for greatness. He was destined for greatness. Destined means what? Fated. Means it was decided. It was decided by the fate. Fate का मतलब क्या है? Fate means destiny, luck. Fate is equal to luck. Means the luck decided for his greatness. So here we will see he was born in the year 1879 in the German city of Ulm, and he did not give any indication means the hint that he is going, or he is decided, God has decided, or fate has decided him to be a great person. That means there is no sign, there is no symptom of his greatness while he was born. While he was born, he was just like the common people or common child, and there is no sign of greatness. He was just like a common person, common child. On the contrary, his mother thought Albert was a freak. On the contrary means on the opposite. That the opposite was true. There is no sign of a greatness in Albert Einstein, but on the opposite we can notice we can notice that the mother, who is the greatest lover of the children, also predicted that Albert Einstein was a freak. Freak is the person who behaves abnormally, not normally, unlike other people. Why he was a freak? Because his head was little bigger compared to other people. At the age of 2.5, Einstein still wasn't talking. When he finally did learn to speak, he uttered everything twice. Einstein did not know what to do with other children, and his playmates called him boring brother, boring brother. So you could see this part we have already discussed in the main point when we made the review of the main point. After the age of 2.5, so he did not speak a word. He did not start talking, and finally when he started talking, he uttered everything twice. Suppose he is uttering the word bowl, then he will be telling bull, bull. So when he is talking about GOAL, goal, then he will be telling goal, goal. Means although the word, whatever he uttered, he will be uttering 2 times. Means he is having this pampering quality too. And he did not know how to make the relationship, how to adjust with other children, because making adjustment or playing with other children, for this also what is needed is your intellect is needed. As he did not know what to do with other children, therefore he simply gave up their company. He did not take up their company, and his playmates call him Mr. Boring or Brother Boring. So the youngster means the scientist, young scientist played by himself, means he did not have any company, and majority of the time what he did, he was playing with the mechanical toys. Mechanical toys. Let us continue. Otto Neugebauer, the historian of the ancient mathematics, told a story about the boy Einstein that he characterizes as a legend, but that seems fairly authentic. As he was a late talker, his parents were worried. At last, at the supper table one night, he broke his silence to say, "The soup is too hot." Greatly relieved, his parent asked why he had never said a word before. Albert replied, "Because up to now everything was in order." This is quite interesting. Very interesting, this part. So he was just like a legend. Legend means he was a living example, living history. He was a late talker, and his parents were very much worried about his future. And when they were taking the dinner one night into the table, he broke the silence, and he told the line. He told the full sentence, "The soup is too hot." The soup is too hot. Then the parents were greatly surprised, and also very much relieved. They were very much relaxed. Because they were under lot of tension. Because the child hardly talked, and whatever he talked only words, and the words were also repeated. This caused lot of worry to the parents, and therefore when at night when they were taking the dinner, when started talking, the shop is too hot. The parents were greatly relieved and they asked the question to Albert, the small Albert, why he did not talk earlier. Then he said that up to then the things were all right. Things were in order means all right. Now things are not correct, therefore he will have to tell about it. Then let us continue, my dear children. Let us continue. He especially loved mechanical toys. Looking at his newborn sister Maja, he is said to have said, "Fine, but where are her wheels?" So after seeing the newborn baby, that is a newborn Maja, who was his sister, then he asks the question. It's all right, but where are the wheels of the toy? Maja was regarded as being the toy, as he was playing all the time with the mechanical toys. He also considered Maja as a new toy and asked a very pertinent but very humorous question: where the wheels of Maja? So we'll see now paragraph number 3 and 4, and here we will see the early education, and after that we will go to the last part, because almost all part we have already covered in the main point, and here we will see detailed description of this two paragraph. Let us continue with this particular paragraph. A headmaster once told his father that what Einstein chose as a profession would not matter, because he will never make a success at anything. He would never make a success at anything. He will never make a success at anything. Einstein began learning to play the violin at the age of 6 because his mother wanted him to. He later became a gifted amateur violinist, maintaining this skill throughout his life. So in this part we can see the prediction was made, some foretelling was done. Foretell. Foretell means telling about the future. Okay, telling, this is L. Foretelling means telling about the future. The foretelling or the prediction was done by the headmaster once, and the headmaster told that whatever profession he choose in future course of life, he cannot make a success because he is not gifted. That was the guessing. That was the idea. That was the understanding of the headmaster. But the headmaster was proved to be wrong by Albert Einstein, by his own work, and by his own invention in future. So besides the academic learning, he was also a great lover of violin. He always played the violin and he maintained this skill throughout his life. Let us see this next paragraph number 4. But Albert Einstein was not a bad pupil. He went to the high school in Munich. Where Einstein's family had moved when he was 15 months old, and scored good mark in almost every subject. Einstein hated the school regimentation and often clashed with his teacher. At the age of 15, Einstein felt so stifled there that he left the school for good. So as it was supposed by many people that he was not good in education, but this is not Correct? Because in Munich, where the parents of Albert Einstein shifted, he got good mark in almost all the subjects. But what he disliked, he disliked the strict rules of the school because he felt very small. Stifle means S-M-A-L-L, small. He felt himself so small in the face of the strict rule that at the age of 15 he left the school forever, means for good. For good means forever he left the school. So in this way we see that one of the teacher, one of the mathematics teacher found the potential, gave the certificate to Albert Einstein, and with that certificate he left Milan and joined he left Munich and joined the school in Milan and become a world famous scientist and discovered the theory of relativity and also discovered the theory particularly the equation equal to mc square. Let us see this last part now. We will see the last part. So this is the part where we can see he had good relationships. Mileva Marik. Finally, let us see, he made the theory of relativity. Let us see this part, paragraph number 9. Let us see this paragraph. One of the famous paper of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity. Special theory of relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. Time and distance are not absolute. Absolute means fixed. Suppose a particular clock is there. This is the clock. Okay, this is the clock. If two clocks of the same company moves in different levels, then what happen after making the journey, if you are put together, then you will see that we can notice that they are not showing the same time. Therefore, it is well said that the time and distance are relative, they are not absolute or fixed. Indeed, two perfectly accurate clock will not continue to show the same time if they come together again after a journey, if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. So you see this one, these are two clocks, they are moving in different levels, and suppose one is moving at the speed of 100 km per hour, another one is moving at the speed of 200 km per hour. Then after this journey, when this clock will be put together, then they will not show the same time. This is because of the theory of relativity, because the time and distance are not fixed, they are relative term. And after this guessing, the world famous theory of relativity, and particularly this world famous theory of equal to mc square was discovered. From this followed the world famous formula which described the relationship between mass and energy equal to mc square. Let us see this formula. Equal to mc square is equal to, is here the energy, is here the energy, is energy here, energy, m is the mass, In this mathematical equation, E stands for energy, m stands for mass, and c stands for the speed of light in the vacuum. Speed of light in the vacuum, not in the air but into the vacuum. So another emerging theory, this as we have already discussed, when you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That is relativity, Albert Einstein said. Therefore, in this very humorous manner, the theory of relativity is explained in detail by Albert Einstein by saying that when you are having very good time, particularly talking or gossiping with a nice girl, 1 or 2 hour time will look like 2 minutes or 1 minute when you are sitting in front of the hot stove during the summer time. Particularly, it will look the 1 or 2 hour will look like 1 or 2 this 1 or 2 minute will look like 1 or 2 hours. So this is the theory of relativity. In this way, the writer become very famous, and he got the prizes and awards from every corner of the world. But when he was discovering all this, his personal life, in his personal life, we could notice many of the problem that came without his knowledge. So this is irony, my dear children, and life is full of irony. I suppose you understood this lesson beautifully, and you can also get a lot of inspiration from the life of Albert Einstein, and we can also imbibe the scientific spirit like Albert Einstein. So with this, my dear children, let us finish. I suppose you understood it well, and we'll see it in the next video. Till then, bye bye and have a very good day.